Welcome everybody to the weekly WP Roundup with BJ Keeton. That is me, and every Friday afternoon we get together and we talk about a curated list of the best news and tutorials and resources that really came out this week about WordPress. The live chat is really important to the show, so feel free to throw any kind of comments or questions that you've got into the live chat, and we all kind of interact and answer questions and get to know each other that way. No matter what platform you're on, we'll be monitoring the comments and seeing what's going on. So feel free to say hi, like I said. Also, all of the links that we're going to talk about in this show are in the video description, so make sure that you expand that out and check it out to click through any of the links that seem interesting to you. We usually don't get through anywhere near all of them to discuss, so make sure that you look at those and see what all was published this week that seems super interesting and that can help you expand your professional life that way. I see comments are already coming in. That's great. So I might as well dig in. I'll get distracted by these a few times. Those of you who are new to the show will notice that. Those of you who are regulars are already used to that, I suppose. And so there's been a few things that have come up this week in WordPress that I did want to talk about. I see Uncle Social on YouTube has said that I joined the Marine Corps, a very stylish haircut. Got my hair cut actually today, and she went just a little shorter than usual. So it's hard for me to be here because I like having a little bit longer on this side. So not quite the haircut I wanted, but in a week it'll be fine. So I see a lot of people. Can't say hello to everybody all at once, but hello all at once. So I want to move into the news just to dig in. The first thing that came up that I saw that I wanted to talk about was Gutenberg 7.6. If you use the Gutenberg plugin, there is a new version out of 7.6, and it is the first version where you can really see what the page editing is going to look like. It's very rudimentary. It's very rudimentary. It's something that we're going to be able to see what like their theme building is going to look like, and it's not fully fleshed out in this plugin. Remember, the Gutenberg plugin, not what just comes with the core WordPress, is always a few features ahead. It's a beta test plugin. So if you use it, you'll have access to they say rotating tips that are in the block inserter, yes, but you will also get, let me see, 4 new dynamic placeholder blocks that are related to post data, featured image tags, comment count, and content form, or comments form, excuse me. And that's about 12 blocks for full site editing on there. And you'll be able to see what kind of options that we're going to have for that. It is nowhere near what Divi and other page builders give you for theme building. So I think this is still something that not everyone should worry about at all. But it will give your clients a taste of what you can do for them with Divi, and it'll give you a taste if you're new to Divi, the kinds of things that you can accomplish with a page builder. That said, I did want to warn you just a little bit about this update. It crashed one of my sites. I haven't been able to figure out what it was. I couldn't load any posts, and I couldn't load the editor at all using Gutenberg 7.6. So I actually just disabled it completely and went back to core, and I didn't go through everything and troubleshoot exactly what the issue was. But just if you do use that plugin, update warily like you always do, and just make sure that your site doesn't crash and your content can still get edited and put up there. Because whenever I couldn't enter an editor, some of the contributors on the site were wondering what had broken, and it turns out it was Gutenberg. So 7.6 may have some compatibility issues with something. I don't know what it is, so I just turned it off because I don't really use any of the advanced features on there right now anyway, not regularly. So just wanted to let y'all know about that. That said, they've also stated that WordPress 5.5, which is not the upcoming release, but the next release, we're working toward 5.4 right now, but they're updating 5.5 to have automatic automatic plugin and theme updates, where you can enable automation based on which plugins you want. So you don't have to turn on automatic updates on individual. You can turn on automatic updates for individual ones. I really liked this. I really like that I can, if I want Divi to always update, I can do that. If I want Gutenberg to always update, I can do that, which after this, I'm not going to be doing, by the way. But that gives you a lot of options on being able to keep things updated for your clients, and be able to, turn it off if there's something like that. But I thought that was really a good feature to come in, because it's basically a toggle. So I thought that was really worth mentioning here. Thanks, Judy. Good attitude. I'm trying. It helps that I don't leave the house for work and have to be around a whole lot of people all the time. This was what I was worried about. So we'll see. But I'd also just very briefly, I'm not even going to go into this. I just want y'all to know that it's there. The monthly Divi design showcase is up. The February 2020 updates, where you can submit Divi sites that you've built to be showcased by the community and to the community to get ideas from, things like that. You can check that out in the news section. I always put that in the news whenever we publish one, because I like giving that opportunity to see some of your colleagues' work, your peers' work more, see that you can see what you can be doing with Divi. And we publish the best of the best. So I really am excited always to see those. So I think y'all will get a lot out of that. Uncle Social on YouTube says that automatic updates terrify him. What if some update breaks something before he notices? He's a control freak. That's what happened here. I mean, I updated it. I didn't even think about it. I clicked through like update, and then it was like, broke something, and I didn't know it for a little bit. But it's all good. Usually I don't like auto updating. I usually do one at a time to see, but that one I pretty much knew was going to be a bad idea. But yeah, automatic updates aren't the best things that you can do, but it's a great option to have. That there are a lot of people who need that option, who may not be able to afford a maintenance person, or may not remember to go in on a small business website and update them all the time. There's actually probably a site that I help administrate that I'll turn this on for, because it's one that gets kind of thrown onto the back burner and not thought about nearly as much in terms of the WordPress site. So stuff like that should help a great deal. For small things like that, it's not something that I would enable for every site. That said, another thing that I thought was really good for the WordPress community as a whole, it may not apply to people who are not developers and who are contributing, but they are finally working on a way to make GitHub pull requests tie into Track. They're using SVN on Track to be able to actually make all of the actual WordPress updates. They're not, while you can look at the repo on GitHub, it gets updated. The actual pull requests and version control happens on Track. And so it is something that is really frustrating, because so many people live on GitHub, and they are now trying to make it so that if you have a pull request on GitHub, you can link it to a Track ticket so that it will automatically update. All of the discussion and things like that really needs to be on Track still, but this is a big stepping stone to maybe making it a little cleaner for some people to contribute to the WordPress core. So I was really glad. Any kind of GitHub integration and Git integration for the WordPress core is always a good thing in my mind. Blues number 1 on YouTube asks, can I combine the Extra and Divi together and work on them in different pages? No. The closest thing that you can get would be to install the Divi Builder plugin, and it would do nothing for you. If you have Extra installed or Divi installed, they are the theme. So let's say that you have Extra installed. It has all of the same features. It's updated at the same time that Divi is updated, so that when you are looking at the builder and you open it up, it's going to be the same builder that you open up in Divi. Extra has the couple of category builders, things like that built into it that the Divi one doesn't have. But no, given that they're both themes, you won't be able to do it independently of one another on the same site. That would be like a multi-site thing where you would have one site running Divi and one site running Extra, where if you were to maintain the two and try to work it that way, you could. But it is a very limiting thing to do it that way. It's very convoluted. And I see Mike on YouTube says, I know of a plugin that lets you use multiple themes. Really? I want to know what this is. Excuse me. I want to know what this is. I want to look this up because I've never heard of that one. So that's awesome. I want to see how they make the themes play together, because just in the way that my brain works and the way that I understand WordPress themes, I can't wrap my mind around that right now. So that would be great, Mike. That's good to know about that. Thank you for that. Elise asks, hey BJ, if I have a footer made up of 4 columns, how can I have them align 2 by 2 on mobile, like on tablet or iPad, please? Right now, Elise, that is more complicated to do because you're going to need CSS to do that. I think we have let's see, blog. I think we have a tutorial on that on the blog. Eventually, I say eventually, I don't know when it's coming out. We have an update where you can adjust your viewport size or viewport breakpoints, where once you're able to do that, you'll be able to just say if it is above this, do the 2 columns like you have on iPad. You're basically just going to be shifting it left or right, however you do it. That right now is more complicated to do because of mobile and the responsiveness. Let me see if I can find that real quick on the blog that while it's on my mind. I know I've seen it. It has been a little bit since we published it. Excuse me. I believe it came out last year when we did that. I don't remember what the keyword was on that one to find it. I may not be able to find it while I'm on air here, but if you search around in the blog, you should be able to find it. Searching through some of these, like I know I've seen it. I know we had the CSS to do it, because it takes CSS to split. I'm not able to find it right now. I apologize for that, because I don't want to just sit here and search the blog while we're on there. But at least that would be the best suggestion right now is for me to say hold off on it until you can get the breakpoint update. I don't know when that's going to be released. I just know it's being worked on right now. Until then, there is CSS that will do that. I just can't find it right now. So if you look for Divi, multiple themes on mobile, CSS, things like that on Google or on our blog, things like that, hopefully you'll be able to find it. I'm thinking Jason is the one who wrote that last year, maybe. All of the years start to blur together for me right now. For all of been here a couple of years. I can't remember when we published everything, but I'm pretty sure that one was published. That said, I had to fix my pillow on my lower back here because I'm an old man. I need my lumbar support. And I see that Mike says that plugin about running multiple themes is called the very aptly named multiple themes. So it's I'm gonna look into that. That's really awesome, Mike. I really, really, truly appreciate that. You looking for that and that suggestion. That's really cool. I'm gonna totally be playing with that. Uncle Social says that you know the song "Mo Money Mo Problems," and yeah, that was Mace, P Diddy, and Notorious B.I.G. That was one of my favorite songs when I was in middle school. Of course, I remember that. And he says he thinks it applies to plugins and themes as well. It could be like there are a lot of issues that can come up with compatibility that way. But depending on how the plugin works, that's why I'm so interested. I think it could work, and I don't know how to wrap my brain around that. And then Elise asks, why doesn't Divi allow us to work on the iPad and mobile and save our changes on there? What I meant is if I change anything on mobile or tablet, it changes on desktop. Kind of makes sense. Doesn't make sense. You if I change anything on mobile or tablet, if you can change individual settings for those. Like if you're working on the iPad and mobile designs, you can select them individually by clicking in you'll see an icon of a cell phone above all of the features. That will open up individual tabs for desktop, mobile, and tablet that you can do, and then just adjust the tablet and mobile ones, and it should not mess with the desktop one if you adjust the mobile and tablet ones first. You can play around with that a little bit, if that's what you mean. If you mean actually working on the tablet or mobile, I've done a little bit of actually work on tablet and mobile. I haven't done a whole lot. You can edit on there. We've made some mobile editing improvements to the builder last year. I'm pretty sure that one was last year. And but if that's what you mean, that I don't know a bug about not saving your changes that way. If that's the case and it's not saving changes globally, like to let you move back to desktop and work on there, that is definitely a support ticket thing where you should, no matter where you save it, it should go back to it should just be the website, not the builder instance of the builder. And Blues number one asks, so were you saying the extra is Divi modules plus extra modules? Yeah, actually. That is pretty much it. The extra theme gets all of the updates that Divi gets, plus the extra modules that it has. I say extra, but the extra with a big E modules that come with that particular theme. They are. You do have the things, where extra is a great theme. Like I love extra. I just haven't used it in a long time. Where you have the differences in extra and Divi. But yeah, it has all of the exact same updates every time that Divi gets one. So if you look in the changelog, whenever we provide an update, you'll see that extra gets the update as well to be able to maintain that same functionality. We don't want there to be a real breadth of difference in using the two themes. We just have extra, there for the magazine style editing and the extra, categorization and things like that, where Divi is more of the blank slate from the ground up kind of theme. You can also use any of the Divi layouts in extra, things like that. I know that you can. I haven't done it in a while to see where the content and layout, I hate to say layout, but how it applies, but they're designed for that as well. So anything that we put out is available for both themes. Dave asked, why not always use extra then? The main reason for me is because it is more than I need. Generally, what extra does is we've designed it specifically for publishing and blogging. That is what it is, whereas Divi is more of the design side of it, where you get the blank software, and you don't have the extra category features and things like that in there. Extra is designed specifically with publishing in mind, with the layouts that you can do using it. Thorsten asks, any update on the WooCommerce modules, and not that I've heard of. They're underway, they're being worked on, and I do not know an ETA on those at all. I'm crossing my fingers they're soon, because I know that y'all are wanting them. They're very wanted, but I don't know when. But I'm excited for when they do come out with the, I think, what did I say, 17 extra modules? That was the last number I heard. Have no idea up or down or what's been added or cut, but 17 was the last number I heard. So it's going to be crazy, y'all. I don't know why I did that, but it's going to be crazy. So, got my multiple themes plugin tab open now. So yeah, that's what I had for the news. Like, it's cool stuff. I'll get to a question in just a second. That's all the news stuff that I was able to find this week. It's good stuff, I think. I think it's really interesting stuff, but it is specialized stuff that may not matter to everyone, but I'm sure it matters to someone, and I found it really interesting and cool. So I'd always move into the tutorials after the news. If you came in late and missed any of the discussion or questions or anything we've discussed before, you can always check this video out when it's finished on YouTube and Facebook. We'll always have an archive of all of our live streams on both of our channels, on both of our platforms. So you can do that. I see MB asks, why do I have to press play twice on videos when I'm using video overlay on mobile? If I'm understanding right, it's because the first overlay is from hover, and the second click will actually, or the second touch will actually be the play. I run into that on a lot of video sites that will have a hover animation for you to maybe give a preview or bring up an overlay with the title or maybe a featured image or an excerpt or something like that, and then play the video. That is always what it is, because when I visit a site that does it, like YouTube or something, it will do it on hover, where I'll have to do it twice on mobile. So that's what my guess would be for that one. With it being an overlay, it would come up on hover to see the overlay, and then you would click through it to start playing on mobile. You can't do the hover, so it takes the tap to do the overlay, tap to play. Excuse me. Hi Jogesh, I see you in India. I like your username, Mr. Intellectual. That is awesome. Patrick asks, a question about the translation of the theme. Is it computer generated because the Dutch is really badly translated? I don't know. I hear things about the translations from native speakers of other languages all the time, and I honestly can't tell you that. I've never once heard one way or the other on that one, so I apologize. And if Blues asks if Divi supports RTL, right to left reading, and that's a good question. I'm going to see if I can check the documentation on that. Divi will, oh no. I found it and then I clicked the link, and now I have to actually find the thing for RTL. Yes, Divi is the first theme with RTL support. We're finally able to add it when you enable an RTL language within your WordPress dashboard, Divi will automatically switch to RTL mode. Not only does that have the front-end websites being adjusted, but even the Divi Builder interface has been reimagined for RTL users. So if you have your site enabled on an RTL language, then you'll be able to, should be able to see it, switch automatically to RTL. I'm glad to see that it's my train of thought, that it's an option that is language based, that's automatically seen like that. Enabled like that, I mean. Oh, even on the ET, this is from MB about the videos, even on the ET site, when you want to play a video, if you press play and then after that you get the YouTube play button, you have to play the video only on mobile with the overlay. I don't know. That I cannot think of the explanation for that. I'm assuming it's because of the way that the embed works to be able. I don't know. I honestly don't know how the embeds and YouTube pulling it in would do that. Yeah, I'm at a because the only thing I've really ever dealt with personally on worrying about that was the hover effect. So I don't know. Hmm. Try it out. If it works for someone on desktop, it looks like the videos don't autoplay. Um, yeah, one click would seem the way to do it. I don't know. I apologize, MB, on that one. Um, so, uh, Green Shorts DIY asks, are there any recommendations for an Amazon plugin for WordPress? Will it allow the customer to handle shipping right on my site? We, I think, have a blog. I think we have a roundup of Amazon plugins. If I'm affiliate plugins, I know we have a login on. Oh, I remember doing that one. It's been a while since I wrote that one. I wrote this blog I'm about to link. This is a WooCommerce affiliate one that may do what you need. Green Shorts. I'm not sure if that link in. I'll paste it into Facebook and to YouTube as well. I don't know if that's what you need, but there are some Amazon plugins out there. I don't know a lot of them personally, especially ones that let you do work out for shipping on your site as opposed to doing it through Amazon and taking you to a link through there. WZone, the reason that I like it, the reason I suggested it is because it ties into WooCommerce, where you're able to work on the use it on Amazon affiliate products and things like that through WooCommerce, which lets you do all of it. It's been a couple of years since I wrote that, so I don't remember the ins and outs of the plugin and how it's updated, but that is how I what I would suggest, because it's the only one I know of off the top of my head that that does it without going to Amazon itself. See, any suggestions for making my WooCommerce website into a mobile app? There are a couple for that one. Let me gotta do a lot of typing today. There are a few ways to do it. There is a new plugin that I've seen called App Maker. App Maker WP takes it and lets you basically give it an icon and things like that for native app for download. App Presser is the one that I have seen in the past being talked about, where they build a mobile app that basically, as far as I understand it, is used as a wrapper around your WooCommerce site that will be able to be in all of the app stores and marketplaces. My goodness, my brain today, y'all. But you'll be able to do it. That is called App Presser. I'll provide a link in there. That may be the place to start looking about it. Also, if you are if you're a front end developer and you are interested in making it a native app from WordPress, making it your WooCommerce store an actual native app, you can look into React Native. React Native does have ways for you to design and wrap websites in the native app bundles isn't right, the wrappers. I'm messing up the terminology here, but there are ways to do it too. But App Presser is the main one I've seen in terms of services that will actually do that. I don't want to say platforms, but a service that can do that for you. And I see Patrick says, by the way, great tip, start using VW instead of PX. The layout of the sites are great on both the iPhone and Android devices. Awesome. I'm glad that worked for you, that it's helped a little bit on getting that. Ever since it was Jason who really got me doing that on using VW and VH instead of PX for any kind of unit measurements, and it has made a lot of difference. I have, over the last just couple of months, had a much easier time since the theme builder came out. I guess I should say, since the theme builders come out, I've had a much easier time of designing everything to make it look right for responsiveness using VWs than I have ever had in my life. Used to, y'all know the fights that you have with making sure that negative margins line up, that that the padding isn't wrong, that you have different, how you do, like it's going to be 30 pixels and then you have to go and set. VWs make a huge difference on being able to limit what you have to specify per device and breakpoint. Like, I love VWs. So thank you, Jason. I really truly appreciate that, and hopefully others, obviously others do as well. So I want to move into the tutorials just a little bit. The first one is an Elegant Themes one from the blog, showing you how to use the new scroll effects that we have. Jason published this yesterday. It's really, really cool. Breakaway image transitions always look awesome. It's something that, with the sneak peek that he did, it blows my mind that you can do this with our transitions and animations and scrolls. That the when you scroll, it has a transition effect. The image will break apart and turn into something else. It's beautiful. It's awesome. And the fact that his brain can come up with things like this, I believe that I can say for all of us right now, thank you, Jason, for that. Because it's really, really cool. I love it. I love the scroll animations. I love any scroll animation. It's something that doesn't lag down the site too terribly much. It's something that whenever you see on a website, it gives it enough oomph that I'm like, oh, they know what they're doing. And this one will absolutely do it. That you will be able to do it very easily yourself. He even has a Photoshop tutorial on how to slice the images up and make sure that how you rotate all of them as the animation moves through. It's beautiful, y'all. Uncle Social says Jason's probably great with a Rubik's Cube. Next time I see him in person, I will ask him and see if he can solve one in just a short amount of time. Isaac asked, you know why suddenly whenever I'm adding a new post or page, the page title is defaulted to uppercase? The only time I've had that happen, Isaac, is I'm actually having it happen right now on a website. I have not been able to fully track down the culprit of this one yet. Somewhere in my site's CSS, and I'm assuming that this is the same for yours, there is probably an important tag saying that the font decoration needs to be uppercase or font transform needs to be uppercase. Let me make sure that I'm saying it right. Text transform. What I'm going to provide a link to that CSS just specifically so you can see the selectors and elements that I'm talking about here. What happens to me a lot is that I'll put in something and make something text transform to uppercase, all lowercase, or small caps, and then don't realize that I've applied it site-wide rather than to a single page. And I get confused on why it's like that. I have missed that on one of my current sites, and am trying to figure out why I've got all caps on something that I don't know why is all caps. And even an important tag in the module isn't overriding it. So I have done something magnificently wrong with this site on how, because it's transforming into uppercase post titles. But that would be my suggestion, that there is something on your website in the CSS or on the module or the page or the overall site style sheet that is calling the H1s or post title or entry title. Those are the ones that I've run into before, either H1. I think it's a dot post dash title or dot entry dash title, so that you will probably see one of those somewhere, text transforming into uppercase. If it's not that, I'm baffled, because that's what it's been for me in the past. Although right now I'm a little baffled because it's doing it and I can't seem to find that, and commenting it out has not fixed it. Uncle Social mentions that hashtag important is really important and really, really important. Is there actually, Uncle Social, I'm actually curious on this, is there actually a really important tag that I can use to override important? Because if there is, that's going to make my life so much better. And if there's not, please, W3, give me that, because I need it, because I'm bad at certain things, like overusing the important tag. Also, Daryl says, also check to make sure that your font is not all uppercase. That's true. I am also bad. I know mine isn't. I know that mine's not all uppercase because it's using a Google font through the Divi builder. I know that that's not the thing for me. But yeah, I've done that in Photoshop before, and trying to figure out why some fonts are not doing right for me, and it's because there aren't glyphs for lowercase letters, which is always something to keep in mind, which I never do. So thank you so much, Daryl, for that one, because it happens a lot more than I am happy to admit on live TV or live streaming, that I don't realize what glyphs are out there in particular fonts. But that's true. If you've imported a font to the site, it could just be that. So yeah, that is awesome. Isaac says that Pavel from Elegant Themes had helped with the following code that I added my child function.php. That I don't actually know if that's going to work, Isaac, if that's going to show up in the chat, but that is something, just because of the way that YouTube chat works, I have no idea if they will let you post code. If they do, woohoo! I don't know if I can post code in there because of the way that some errors in database stuff goes. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And then Design and Interest asks, when will Divi embrace video, more particularly on mobile? Are there plans to overhaul the video module, for example, background hero videos and front end, the ability to add a text module, etc.? I think that there are, I don't want to put any words in the dev team's mouth. There has been discussion on reworking and taking a look at how the hero sections work and specialty sections and things like that, on how they all work to make a better experience for the users. I'm not sure at what stage at all those are, but I've heard a discussion being discussed. Heard a conversation going on about that. In terms of the video module, I don't know. That's one that is completely above my pay grade. I've not seen or heard anything specifically. The same about the menu module. I'm not sure where like the header menu module is sitting right now. That one I don't know about, but I would expect sometime for a look at the specialty sections and specialty things like the background hero videos and things like that. I know for a fact, I was told specifically that this was a year or so ago, but I was told specifically that that we would not be including YouTube video backgrounds. That there are a couple of ways to do that now, but I don't believe that one will become native to Divi regardless of any kind of look we take at a different section. reworking some Divi modules would be great, i.e. at the moment you can't copy paste a button style to the button within a CTA module. It's mildly grating. I actually ran into that last weekend, not with the CTA module, Uncle Social, but the post title module. You can't copy between the post title from a specialty section of the hero section. You can't copy it to a regular post title module. It made me mildly sad not being able to do that, but it is what it is. The screen overlay, Nancy says, image with RGBA color on top with text all over. You have to work around the blend mode due to some browsers not recognizing the CSS rule. Okay. Good to know. I've never, CSS in different browsers. Thankfully, with Edge being on Chromium now, we'll hopefully see a little less of that, but then we still have Safari and iOS Safari. Oh, goodness, and it is. I'm so sorry. It's design and internet, not design and interest. I apologize. I am illiterate. I apparently cannot read. And then Blues asks, Divi's already activated on my website. If I want to download, and activate Extra, should I remove the Divi theme or will it be automatically removed or what? All that you have to do on that Blues is download Extra from your members area, and you can just upload it the same way that you do any other theme, and then click activate, and you'll just put in your API key and username in the section the same way you did Divi. You won't have to remove Divi. You can have as many themes installed as you want. You can only have one active by default. So if you install Extra and activate it, Divi will automatically be deactivated, but all of your settings and everything will be saved. So I don't suggest you delete Divi, but if you're going to add Extra and use it and mess around, you'll be able to activate back and forth as you need to. I've done that between multiple themes in the past just to see how different things were going. Specifically with Ultimatum and Divi is what I've used it on, and using child themes for both, and never had any trouble at all losing activations or keys or anything doing it. So you should be able to do that without worrying about deleting Divi. And the reason I say not to worry about deleting Divi is because of the settings. If you delete it from your site, then you'll lose any settings that you had already customized and put in, so you just had to go through all that again. Green Short says it's amazing all this stuff works as well as it does. Scroll effects are mind-blowing. I agree. Scroll effects are great, and that's a shout out to the dev team and the ridiculous amount of QA that they do to make sure that everything is as smooth as we can possibly get it before pushing it out to y'all. That we want your experience to be like that. That there are always going to be bugs and issues that come up when you're dealing with software. I mean, that is the nature of software. But being able to have them as smooth as we possibly can is our goal. So I'm really glad to hear that, Green. I appreciate that. Hi to Ricardo from Brazil. Okay, I think I'm caught up for the second, so I'm going to move for just a minute. We have another article on blogging trends for 2020 that I want to just call out. I'm not going to go through a lot of this. I always like content creation, because that's kind of what I do. But they talk about, Arana wrote this article, and it makes me really happy because he talks about how to set up a content cluster strategy. That's really, really important. Like being able to have your content clusters, being able to have different types of long form content, which is becoming more and more needed as we move through this kind of the current web landscape, that you're going to need different kinds of content instead of just one. And then repurposing into video is a big one. Being able to repurpose content into video using things like OpenShot with GreenShot, things like that. KineMaster, Adobe Rush, List Biteable, Splice. There are a bunch of those that you can work with to be able to convert to video, which I think is going to be super important this year too. So that one's great. And also the Resize My Image. This is the third link down the tutorials section. This one is this is the Resize My Image blog. This one is about how to create featured images for your blog. This is a pain point of mine. This is a very important thing that this is a very important thing that a lot of people don't get, how important having the right featured image for your article is, because they get shared. They're what people see. And if you don't use good featured images and you make them, if you don't have them be the right resolution, you don't have them be the right size, the right colors, then your blog looks completely and totally unprofessional. And what this teaches you how to do is to basically look for what you want to optimize and how to do it. I like it. Y'all need to pay attention to your featured images and put guidelines to any of your content creators and to your any contributors that you have, anyone you work with on your team, that when you're working in a specific design, that everyone uses the same image size for featured images, because if not, it can break some designs. It looks bad depending on the design, but we always suggest using a standard size for that site, no matter what it is. We have standard sizes for Elegant Themes featured images. I have some on my sites that I want people to use. It's good to be able to do. Patrick says, after I update the theme to the latest version, I experience a problem with links to download PDF files. They redirect to a blank page. Before that, the download of the file started directly. I'm going to say that's a bug, Patrick. That is definitely a support team ticket. I'm actually going to try that. Let's see. I'm going to try on one of mine that I know. If I can remember that being the... I'm trying to find a PDF that I know I have on my site that I'm running on the updated Divi site. I can't remember the particular URL for it in the content. That sounds like it's a bug to me, though. That may be some kind of conflict that happens between a plugin. I don't know on that one. I've always had it just directly either download it in Firefox or open it up in Chrome. I've not run into a blank thing unless there's some sort of download blocker. And you say it's a development site, so no biggie yet, which I'm really happy about. And you did send in a ticket. That's going to be your best bet. Remember that for you and everybody else, I just want to remind you that we do have the connection between the support team and your website, that we can do a secure token to link up between your install so that they can get in there and troubleshoot your specific installation. So if anybody ever runs into problems like this, that may be a single site issue, we can get in there and do that. So always suggest putting in a ticket when anything like that comes up. But that's odd. Like that one's weird. I hate that for you. And I'm going to assume that just because I just did it twice, I'm going to assume that nothing has changed in terms of the file, in terms of the file location, or that it's not such a large file that it is taking a long time to preload or something like that if it's opening up into a browser, or taking a long time to load, because that's happened in Chrome to me before. That I don't know for sure how it would actually work. I know that I've had to wait a good half hour on some things to open up in Chrome fully. But yeah, Daryl has a good idea on rolling back Divi. There is a rollback tool in Divi to be able to try that to see. But ticket if it keeps up for sure. I hate that I couldn't find the PDF that I was thinking of. So getting close to one of the last things, two last things, I wanted to point out a couple below that one, down midway through the tutorials, is where to learn WordPress theme development. This is a CSS Tricks article that is absolutely chock full of different resources for you to learn WordPress development. It is very, very, very thorough in terms of links to courses, in terms of links to just websites that show you how to do it. There are developer resources they link to. They talk about using local by Flywheel and how you can learn that. They talk about different IDEs and code, Git software, and as well as finding starter themes to edit, that kind of thing. They list books like Digging into WordPress, The Tao of WordPress, and WordPress Themes in Depth. They really go very, very deep into this in terms of just giving you what you need to know. WordPress is something that all of us know, and there are obviously things that all of us don't. And so if you check this out, even if you're a beginning dev, even if you're not a dev and you're a designer, there's probably something in here that you can learn something from. So really wanted to get that out there. The CSS Tricks article, Where to Learn WordPress Theme Development, is a really, really fantastic post. And then the last one I do want to touch on is the readability post from Yoast, called Dumbing Down or Opening Up. And this might be one of the best Yoast articles I've seen, because the readability function does feel sometimes like you're dumbing it down to be able to hit SEO green on stuff. And they talk about in this how they pasted their PhD thesis or PhD dissertation, the intro to it, into a blog to get it, and it still got a green readability score. When doing it, they just had to break up some paragraphs because academic writing is walls of text, which is one of the reasons I'm really glad I'm not doing that anymore. It's hard to read. But they talk about the differences in making sure that how to use readability, what you can be okay with, like having a red bullet when you're doing something technical, what you do with green and orange and red bullets in the readability, and it talks about why this matters. And I can't stress enough that y'all need to write any content that you write for yourself or a client, not for SEO, but for understanding. Write it for search intent. Write it so that a human being can read it, because if you write it for where a human can read it, you're writing it for where the machine can read it. They are looking for readability for Google and for people. That's what Google is looking for now. That's what you need to do. It is something that I cannot stress enough, and this article goes really, 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 really in depth on. One of the users that Yoast said, part of this article is one of the users tweeted, "My blog posts are written for grown-ups, and I write at the college level. Sorry, but I don't know how to dumb myself down." And here's where y'all get Professor Beech. Here's where y'all get the English teacher me. To make your text readable, you're not dumbing it down. Making your text readable is making people being able to understand your text. The entire point of writing is to communicate one way or another. If people cannot read what you're writing, I don't care how eloquent it is, I don't care what kind of vocabulary you use, I don't care how long, how polysyllabic it actually is. If the people who are reading your writing get nothing out of it, you have failed as a writer, because they don't understand it. The only function of writing is to communicate ideas. So if you think that the idea of making it have broad appeal is dumbing it down, then you're looking at it the wrong way. You're doing the wrong things to that content. You can break up the way that it looks on the page to make it more readable. You can get smaller paragraphs, smaller sentences, things like that. You don't have to use large, like the the $5 words, as everybody in the South puts it, you can use a more common word when it's appropriate. Sometimes the more specific word works. That's what it is. This is how people get exposed to that kind of language. But if that's all you use, then no one's going to understand it, because no one knows every piece of vocabulary that you do. So when you're thinking about readability and you're writing copy for your clients and you're writing things and you're worried about what reading level to have, how to hit the readability on Yoast, and how to make sure that the largest audience can actually understand this, remember what your goal is. Remember that your goal is not to make it sound like a writer. Because the only thing, this is what I told my freshman comp students, my senior level students, everyone, the only person who sounds like a writer is the person people read, and the only only writers people read are the ones that they can understand. So that is how I'm going to leave you today. I see that Green Shorts, it says this is their first visit to the Roundup. There was a wealth of info. Thank you for compiling all the links in the show notes. Awesome. I really appreciate that, Green. I really do. That makes my day. Please come back. I will get y'all next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I do this every Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we go live with Jason or Danietta doing a use case based on their blog post that day, where they use Divi, and you can see them using Divi to solve a real world problem. This is where I've learned to use Divi more than I've learned it any other way. Watching those two use Divi in real time and being able to ask questions is magnificent. I cannot suggest that enough. To watch them on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. Those are all also archived on our YouTube channel and our Facebook pages, so you can go back and watch all of those, which I highly suggest. Any Monday after a feature release, Mac gets online and talks about that feature, breaks it down, runs through it, and answers questions at Monday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern. So I know that is much better for Europe than it is for the United States. So hopefully you'll be able to. I'm not sure about how time zones work the further east you get. So I'm really hoping that I'm right and that it's better for y'all too. Make sure that y'all smash that like button. It really helps YouTube let people know that we're there. If you're subscribed on YouTube or Facebook, that's wonderful. If you want to get notified that we go live, you can go tell YouTube by ringing the bell, and you can go in the options and tell Facebook that you want to be notified when we go live. Otherwise, you'll just get notifications of posts and things like that. You must tell them that you want updates when we go live. So do that, smash the like button, and join me next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern to round it all up again. I will see y'all next week. Bye, everybody.